Let's talk about why you feel unhappy. Now, I'm going to be using age-old concepts as well as modern concepts in psychology and Buddhist philosophy to break down why someone may feel unhappy. So if you're somebody who is experiencing unhappiness, maybe some bouts of depression, if you're somebody who identifies as the world is always caving in on them, things are always out to get them, people are always doing something towards you, then you're going to benefit from this video because we're going to talk about subconscious as well as truth of reality principles that will change your perspective on life when put into practice. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the truth of suffering. If you haven't heard this before, this is the first noble truth of the Buddha. The Buddha in Buddhism talked about the first noble truth. It was the first sermon that he ever gave, called the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering states that our life is inherently suffering. What I mean by that is we will grow old, we will get sick, certain things will happen in our lives that will cause us pain. However, it all depends on how we react to the situation. That changes if we suffer or not. And what we should also understand is the second noble truth, which is the cause of this suffering. Now, the cause of this suffering, not the pain, but the suffering, is our reaction to an attachment or an aversion that we have. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The cause of our suffering is based in attachment or aversion. Now, what I mean by that is if something happens to you and you feel some sort of suffering, in that moment, you are either attached to something or feeling an aversion towards that experience. So for an example, let's say somebody breaks up with you or doesn't text you back. You might have an attachment to the idea that you and that person should be together, or the attachment to the idea that they should have texted you back. Now, we're not saying one is right or wrong. We're not saying that the person should have texted you back or shouldn't. We're talking simply about your reaction to the situation. That's it. That's what causes your suffering. We can talk about morality and, was that a nice way to communicate or not another time. For now, we're talking about how we feel and just being happy in today's day and era and living our lives. Can we be happy in this moment? It's about understanding the truth of suffering and why we feel suffering. Now, furthermore, let's talk about modern psychology a little bit and subconscious situations. So, for example, when we have a subconscious understanding of how we perceive ourselves, we will attract things that relays and correlates with that understanding. So if I believe that I don't make very much money, then the things that I'm going to attract in my life are going to correlate with that belief. This goes deeper into the subconscious and past the subconscious into the universal consciousness. Also talked a little bit about in Buddhism, we are all connected and we do have a vibrational frequency. Now, everything being made of vibrations and everything being made of intention relays this teaching into our reality. So we have to understand that it's not about believing as much as it is about just experiencing and being. Moving forward, understanding that we cause our own suffering based on our reaction, and we also attract things into our lives based on our subconscious understandings of who we are and what we believe, or what we be, so to speak. We can make ourselves feel so much happier by simply applying these practices into our lives. So let's talk about quickly how to do that. The first thing I want to talk about is subliminal reprogramming. You can do this simply by looking in the mirror and saying affirmations. It might feel a little weird at first, but you can start off by saying, I like myself. I believe personally, and I've seen through many experiences in my life, a lot of people attract negative things into their lives because they just simply believe they are not worthy of positive experiences. It's a matter of reprogramming, teaching ourselves that we are worthy and that we love ourselves. And we can do that by looking in the mirror, speaking kind words to ourselves, and feeling that power, that love, that compassion for ourselves, and that worthiness that we feel that we deserve this situation, this positive experience, whatever it is. You can also do this with a negative experience. Reprogram your mind. See something in a more positive light. But do that again and again to really dig it in, to really reprogram your mind in a positive way. So for example, let's say going to the in-laws' house feels really negative, or you don't want to hang out with that person because they're kind of mean to you. Well, you can reprogram your situation, reprogram your brain in a way that allows you to see it in a more positive light, and do that again and again and again. That's just an example, but really what I'm saying is if you want to reprogram your mind, you can do this by repeating things, by feeling the situation, and by taking your time and meditating and getting to a place of quiet mind and then implanting a thought and reinforcing it again and again and doing it throughout your day. Furthermore, moving over to the cause of suffering, understanding that our attachment leads to our suffering and that our aversion leads to our suffering will completely change your life. Completely change your life. This is why meditation is also extremely important, however, because if you are not meditating and being mindful of your thoughts, you're not going to be able to catch that attachment or catch that aversion in the moment and apply it in a way that ends your own suffering. So how do we do this? We sit down, we meditate. We meditate on mindfulness. We watch our breath. We watch our thoughts and emotions as we meditate. So that way, when we go about in our daily lives and something negative happens to us, we don't react and we don't feel suffering. Furthermore, we take time to reprogram our subconscious and reprogram our brain into a positive mind state. And we do this so that way we can start to see the world in a more positive way and then attract positive things into our lives. It is true. Have you ever noticed that a person who is always negative, just bad things keep happening to them? It's almost like they're pulling it into their lives, and they are. It's a vibrational frequency that they are at that is resonating with other negative vibrational frequencies and bringing it into their lives. So back to that one last thing, just to review. Our suffering is caused by our attachment and our aversion. We attract things into our lives based on our beliefs. We can change these things. We can live in a more peaceful and happy way if we apply them appropriately. It's a practice. It's going to take time. I recommend you sit down and meditate after this video for at least 5 to 10 minutes and do it every day if you can. If you like this video, let me know. Hit the subscribe, like, comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I love you. May you be well. I hope that you feel no suffering. I hope that you feel happiness and compassion in your life. And I hope you get to spread it to more people.